What a lovely day it is. The atmosphere is hot, there's everywhere. Ethan Hunt is almost nowhere. Then Koro is currently somewhere. Renegade Stein is apparently almost here. Alas, this month marks the 10th anniversary of Zord's magnum opus of his directorial career and of his mad brainchild, Mad Max Fury Road. Released 3 decades after the original trilogy, which they thought that is tiny thing about, there's a lot that can happen if you're waiting decades for a sequel. A lot of the first are not so great, but in Miller's favor, he accomplished how to evolve your franchise for the next generation. And this is right after he did a pair of Dancing Penguin films and Pig Epics before. And it's a much way of thinking. I was thinking of any Max. I was thinking about Minions. But since then, I do think a lot about Max. Today, I thought to look into how ass King Fury Road is and what makes it Miller at his very best. Set sometime after the original films, Mag Rosikonsky is a former police officer haunted by his demons of the deceased as his past catches up to him, while he tries to reside in this post-apocalyptic wasteland of Australia that has become all too accustomed to living in. When he's captured by the warrior bros of the notorious dictator Amorta Joe, who wants him as a plug back for his boys, he is caught in the mix of imposter Furiosa, his most treasured impersonator, who betrayed Joe's commands despite everything they have done before, freeing his 5 captured wives, allowing him to escape with the girls in a race against her own death on the Fury Road in the most intense battle Max has ever seen. The most prominent thing about Fury Road is direction. It's the front aspect. From the metallic sound of the opening logos and Max getting imprisoned amidst his inaugural dialogue as he reminded of his past of fighting to save people, Miller is confident humming this bonkers flow of cars in the open desert at all times. As Furious began to Max immediate demons in his presence in his wasteland as a man reduced to a single instinct to survive. It's all portrayed with such enraged spirit that it makes it come alive by sheer excitement and madness. The world has gone blank by how many people beg for Joe's water, and Laura does show it. The film uses the passage of time away from Neil's totally clearly, showing the brutality that Max had endured in his hellscape, aided by the astonishing accent that a brutal upgrade from the previous film had. Compared to the already pounding climax of the World Warrior to any accent from this, and it's clear how Miller aptly used the decades the film spent developing hell to his full advantage to enrich in what he established in his previous work. He evolves the Australian mayhem by a narrative that was fitting in Babe and Happy Feet prior. Needless to say, the attitude about the inside of an inflating tornado and how low it is to be nuts is felt. Extraordinary from the rip-roaring cinematography, enthralling soundtrack, and sharp practical uses of both CGI and practical effects. Given that is Max's main instinct and as Gary Miller himself, the film is all about survival. The humanity of the film is tied to that. I've always disagreed with the notion that Fury Road is a film with accent and no character, and there's a reason as to why. Firstly, Max himself. The guilt of his sins is a constant presence. What a good example of this comes directly from the scene flying the tornado, of Max meeting the wise and Furiosa proper, and as ready to kill them, followed by the fight he and Nux tried to fight them off with. It's one of the more quiet moments, not elevated by too much action. Just simply each party realizing how much they need each other if they want to have a chance against fighting the Lord himself. There's a certain method to the madness that keeps it away from getting too overboard. It's right in the middle. There's a ton that isn't action-oriented and just recognizes mad men and women, which I don't remember there being as much as I remember. I think to back to a price view that Miller directed, Bay, Pig and City, even if there's a murderous shadow that lies hard across my soul, Miller makes it work from expanding on Babe's character and world and the utmost sincerity and kindness of a pig. A strong testament to how I see stories where I care about the characters and fall in much I do with the phantom elements. Even with a film I'm not as big on, say Gladiator, I admire the strong passion that Maximus has seeking out his revenge and what he wants after the trial day befalls him. Or something I do love, a hard catch me crew. I love the underlying idea that it's really the story about these goofy airheads learning to become women as they roll into the magical worlds, but also in their real lives and how the human heart reflects that. Or even in an action series like It's Impossible, I do care about Ethan Hunt's energy and doing what he believes in best, regardless of what putting himself through, was the center of his best mission. And as Free Road, putting aside my previous in Max, I do care about his struggles in traversing a world that is almost unfamiliar to him. The scene of him giving the thumbs up to Answer Hard while helping right before he falls her dead is beautiful on the street. Even if it's not to be read much of the chance of getting to the wasteland at later dates. There's a lot more downtime for her than I remember, especially with Furiosa, Nux, and the wives in the middle. Going into the full blue of the night, up represents the sorrow of this wasteland, opposite to what we see in the rest of the film. It goes saying how integral Furiosa is. And while I feel Maxon is an important and much as she is, I won't blame everything and sees more of the true lead. Leah Uran is the protagonist of Zaya-chan. She's strong and confident in her raising into independence to find the redemption she's longing for the sins of her past or show what Joe has done to her. But the film never tries to downplay Max or anyone else to make her look better. If Max is the pit crew member to start the engines and Furiosa is the driver to keep it on foot, a woman who seeks out to redeem herself and risk it all to regain what she has lost. This is why the scene of her breaking down at her green place becoming a swamp that is a burden more categories it does when her suffering. And even to look at Max's face as he watches in horror. If anything, reviewing the film for this video made me look at it at a completely different angle. I used to just purely think of it as a masterful spectacle for the ages with pure intensity. But now, while I still see it at that, I also view it as a story of these mad fellows trying to survive and do their best. The film doesn't hide its more feminine Maluda compared to the previous films, but also doesn't beat you over the head with it. It's nice. It's subtle. Also, on the character side, like the wives, they have the enduring and durable character against all the mad. That a little more level-headed than the rest, even putting aside the suffering they do and painful suffering that is. And next is look pretty great at this sickly category board that we witness, but also he has himself looking for actual purpose and the desire for what he belongs in, making him a little more interesting than he's written on paper. Joe's a ruthless villain, and while he's not in a lot of the film, his presence is always felt, something a villain should always have, especially with someone considered a much less god like him. That fools an appeal to bleed will lead them to Valhalla, only for him to regain his ren to end by those he has hurt. At his heart, Max is a lone warrior wanderer who is considered a legend by those he touched, and that's certainly his best one. One could describe George Miller's Max Fury Road as an intense action in the wasteland, and they'd be wrong. One could describe it as a royal tale of pain and redemption, with brimlock growiness and flaming guitar shrilling to the pursues, and there would be wrong either. One could describe it both of these things, and it would be wrong. Under the hood, it's great, madly great. The Stanley Rare Legacy sequel that not only involves what made its series so great in the first place, but takes it to the new road that is enriching and uncompromising to studios. Even though I already loved it a lot, I was going to see how much better it got with time. A master storyteller at the height of his craft, and looking back at it 10 years later, it stands proud as the greatest thing about Joe Miller's career and Mad Max series. For everyone's sake involved, I think it was worth having to make Highway 2 to get to this. Oh, what a day. What a lovely day it is. Remember, it's simply just fun.